Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix, Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Hey, Bandit, me and Fred's got a question. What do you and Fred want? How come we doing this? Well, why not? Well, they said it couldn't be done. Well, that's the reason, son.
3 movies that have changed your life.
How long have you been a robber?
4'1".
Good Lord. Jolly good. 4'1".
Yes.
Well, that is a long time.
3 movies that have changed your life.
John, I want this material burned. All of it.
Welcome to another Britflix podcast. My name is Stuart Wright, and today's guest to talk about 3 movies that changed your life is Emmy-nominated writer-producer Lorien Mckenna, who has contributed significantly to both animation and live-action storytelling. She worked at Pixar Animation Studios, where she was involved in iconic films such as Up, Brave, Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur. Lorien is also co-host and founder of the Screenwriting Live podcast, a weekly combination with Oscar-nominated writer Meg LaFauve, who we may have heard on this podcast if you've been listening for a while, who wrote Inside Out and Inside Out 2. And the podcast is about the challenges and joys of writing. Their podcast's inclusive motto is a beacon of hope and inspiration for screenwriters. Remember, you are not alone, keep writing. A notion that grew out of the need to feel connected as artists. And boy, has Screenwriting Live podcast helped pick me up and made me feel like I'm not alone when things have maybe gotten top and or imposter syndrome is firing on all cylinders. Welcome to the show, Lorien.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Off mic, we were saying that back in November 2023, your co-host was a guest and Meg shared her 3 films. It's taken us 2.5 years to get here, but as I said, not a record. 4 years is my wait time. So we are going to spend a little time talking about mentoring, and then we'll jump into 3 movies that changed your life. Sound like what we've signed up for?
I love it. I'm excited.
I've got 3 questions for you, that's all, for mentoring, and I think they kind of get us into the subject quite well. Let's start with the basic one. What for you is mentoring, and why is it so important to a writer's training and development?
I think it can be important to a writer's trainer and development. Just like when you take a class, the teacher is usually what makes or breaks it for you. You can take a class in a subject you have no interest in, but if the teacher is amazing, you're suddenly really engaged and interested and want to pursue that. And it's same as if you take a class of something you're really excited about and the teacher tells you something like, for example, if you can do anything else, maybe you should do that because you don't have it, which was what a guest professor in my MFA program told me. And my response was, or you're the worst and I'm going to do what I want. So teachers, mentors, just like parents really make or break the experience for you. And some people need that kind of guidance and some people don't.
Okay.
And I think for me, mentorship has been a big part of my life, finding people who see something in me that when I wobble or start to have that like desperate imposter syndrome, I can look at them and see the version of myself that they see reflected back to me as a way to stabilize. Mm-hmm. And it's something we really believe in, Meg and I in our mentorship and teaching and the podcast is, you're a writer, own it, right? And when you start to wobble, if someone else just says to you, no, you're a writer, it can mean so much to sort of reclaim that part of yourself until you can believe it yourself. So it's like your parent is like, you're such a good artist. You're such a good artist. And then you believe, oh, I'm a good artist, and then you have the confidence to go out and make beautiful art.
I mean, that was, interestingly, it was a fine art friend of mine who was like a practicing artist and taught fine art at university, who kept saying to me early doors, just say you're a writer. It starts there. Nobody has to tell you are.
Yeah, I think the fear is if you say, I'm a writer, you're going to hear those questions. Oh, what do you write? What are you working on? Have I seen anything or read anything that you've done? And a lot of times, even if you're a professional writer, the answer is no. Because being a professional writer in Hollywood is, I will pitch a show, sell a show, get paid to write the pilot, and then the show doesn't make it to series, but I am making a living as a professional writer. And so all those questions are sort of pushing at you to sort of admit that you're not really a success by the measure, especially in American culture. Productivity equals success, being visible equals success. But you're a writer if you're writing, but you got to write. You have to write, right? You can't just say I'm a writer and have ideas. Like, you got to put it on the page somehow.
I taught for a year, and I said that it's a verb, not a noun. If you're doing it, you are it.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't have to be good, because good is subjective anyway.
When a writer has got some experience under the belt and is maybe seeing that they could be a mentor, what do you think makes a good mentor?
I think a good mentor, I feel like I'm on a beauty pageant. I think a good mentor is, what are they called now? Scholarship programs, sorry. I think being a good mentor is, for me personally, it's not about me personally. It's about the person that I am working with and understanding what their goals are, what their struggles are, and digging a little deeper beyond how are we going to work on the screenplay, or how do you learn a certain skill set. It's really about being vulnerable myself, so that the other person that I'm working with can also be vulnerable and connect to like what they're really working on. I think it's a really vulnerable relationship, I guess, is the answer. And finding someone that you feel safe with. Like, you might connect with somebody that has a great big name and is super successful, but they might not be the right mentor for you.
Yeah.
You want somebody that you feel safe with. You might connect with somebody who gives you what you need. For example, a big part of looking for a mentor is learning to understand and notice without judgment who you are right now. Not the fantasy version of yourself, but who you are right now, what your life is right now. So, for example, my life is chaos, right? I've got family. I, for some reason, adopted a puppy accidentally, had no intention of getting another dog, and yet now I have this adorable maniac that lives with me. I have a very stressful life, right? I'm the sole breadwinner. I'm a screenwriter. How that works, I have no idea, right? And being realistic about what I can and can't accomplish in the course of a week. Like, I can say, oh, sure, I'll write an outline in a week, but I have to take my daughter to karate every day. My husband has a doctor's appointment that I have to drive him to for whatever reason. My car got hit when I was in the parking lot at my daughter's black belt, right? So really assessing who you are in the moment and not trying to be the perfect version of yourself is really important when you're looking for a mentor. Because if you can be honest and truthful about what works for you and what doesn't, then the mentor has a chance of like, great, well, what do you want to work on?
So what, in that sense, if that's for me looking for a mentor, what about if I want to be a mentor? How do I be a good one to someone who's trying to... Same thing.
Okay. What capacity do you have to actually help this person or support this person? Are you the right mentor for that person?
Yeah.
And the mentor-mentee relationship is so, like, people say I'm looking for a mentor, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, how do you, I don't know that sort of finding the thing. I think it's about taking classes. Like, I teach workshops, where they end up being a little mentory. It's about, if you want to be a mentor, it's about being very honest that you are only an expert in your own experience.
Yeah.
You don't know everything. You only know what you've experienced or what you've seen other people go through, and sort of being able to, I think it's, hold on just a second, let me get this clear in my head. It's, you have to know yourself really well. And understand your triggers, and understand when you start to put, we're writers, we're creatives, artists do this. In the absence of somebody, or the absence of a clear theme or directive, we'll fill it in. We're storytellers.
Yeah.
Right? So it's understanding when you need to back off and let that person figure it out themselves. Because I'll fill in the gaps. I'll be like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this?
Yeah.
But you have to back off and give that person space to acknowledge what it is they need and what they're looking for. Because you think you know, but you don't.
Indeed. Well, look, thank you for sharing that. I will put links in the show notes to the podcast and to the workshops. It is now, without further ado, we move into 3 movies that have changed your life.
Okay.
Now then, for those that haven't heard this format before, it is simple. Lorien's given me 3 film titles. I'll do them in the order that she's given me. And every time we hear this sound, that means that 5 minutes are up and we move on to the next film. Does that sound like what you've signed up for?
That sounds terrifying. And we probably need that on my podcast because, boy, do I have logorrhea.
Clock's ticking. We're going to start off with a 1940 screwball comedy, Philadelphia Story, starring Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn and James Stewart, after a rich woman's ex-husband and tabloid-type reporter turn up just before her planned remarriage. She begins to learn the truth about herself. A couple of fun facts with this one. The film was shot in 8 weeks and required very few retakes. During a scene where James Stewart hiccups when drunk, you can see Cary Grant almost corpsing, since the hiccup wasn't scripted. And Cary Grant demanded top billing and $137,000, which is the equivalent of $3 million now. But as it turned out, he donated the entire earnings to the British War Relief Fund. So tell me, why does this film have impact on you and what memories does it hold?
Well, my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, showed me this movie. He's a big Cary Grant fan. Okay. And I had liked Cary Grant, but not in the way my husband likes Cary Grant. And he showed me this movie, and it was, I don't know what it was about it at the time, but it felt romantic at the time that we were watching this movie together. I think the other movie he showed me was Toy Story. Okay. And that had a whole other ripple effect in my career trajectory. But what I loved so much about it was the fast dialogue and how everyone cast was so perfect for it. And the rhythm of it felt very much like a play. And of course, it had been a play. And I come from the theater, and it just really spoke to me. And I love stories where there are people pretending or are forced to be someone that they're not. And that sort of double life. And I also, I have ADHD, and I can't watch a movie without like immediately researching it and how this movie come to be and everything. And Katharine Hepburn at the time had been box office poison. Like, no one wanted to see her. Everyone thought she was like this high, fancy, ridiculous person. I think she'd just done the movie Scarlet. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was like a bomb. Like, no one would touch her. Okay. And she found this play, and she was in it she was in it. She was like, I'm going to do this play. I have to go back to theater. And she so believed in it that she funded the movie. Oh. And, that's why she let Cary Grant have top billing. And it's why in the movie at the beginning, which is of its time, when Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn are like arguing, Cary Grant pushes her face off camera, like pushes her down, little spousal abuse. It's hilarious, right? Ha ha, just kidding. But the point of that was to wink and a nod to the audience, like, we know, we're going to put Katharine Hepburn down a little. We're going to put her in her place so that she understands and we understand that we can enjoy this movie now. And it was her way of coming back. And she was such a powerful woman and did such amazing things for cinema and women. And I just loved it. I also, C.K. Dexter Haven, and, it's a lot of jokes my husband have from this movie, and it just feels very much like the beginning of our relationship. And it's freaking hilarious, and it's a happy ending, and I love it so much. It's so silly, but it changed my life in that I really started to look at old movies in a different way in terms of the writing, like Stage Door, which had been a play, Thin Man, just the sort of way they talk. Yeah. And I'd watched Philadelphia Story and My Man Godfrey and another movie, and I woke up, I was in grad school at the time in playwriting, and I wrote an entire play in one day that morning that was sort of set modern, but not modern, but this kind of pattern of dialogue. And it was the most fun I've ever had writing, because it satisfied me because it was so quick and so fast, and you can do anything in that landscape, right? Like people falling off roofs and, like it's
is the pattern of the dialogue in these, is it because it's become a movie, or was the play the same kind of pattern?
the play is the same kind of thing.
Okay.
Like when you look at plays from like the 30s, the 20s, there's this rhythm where it's just so fast.
Yeah.
And that translates into screwball comedy. And it feels like you're part of the game. It feels like you're smart enough to keep up.
Yeah.
Like I get it. I'm in it, right? So you feel like you're in the moment with the characters with dialogue like that. And it just sings to me. And it made me feel like I can write that. As a playwright, I really connected to it. Tom Stoppard is the other side of that for me. Where I'm like, yes, I can write that, but it's a totally different kind of thing.
There's our first 5 minutes. Well done.
That's my 5-minute monologue. The end.
Indeed. Right then. Moving swiftly along, we will get to your second choice, which is 1998 for the box office smash Shakespeare in Love, starring Gwyneth Paltrow, Joseph Fiennes and Geoffrey Rush, among a cast of many others, notable such as Judi Dench, Imelda Staunton and Colin Firth. It's the story of history's greatest playwright when he was young, out of ideas and short of cash. Fun facts, in the first scene with William Shakespeare, played by Fiennes, we see him crumpling up balls of paper and throwing them around the room, which land near props which represent or refer to other works by Shakespeare. The first lands next to a skull, in reference to Hamlet. The second lands in a chest, in reference to The Merchant of Venice. Dame Judi Dench won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Queen Elizabeth I, although her screen time is only 5 minutes, 52 seconds. This is the second
shortest. It's that moment with the puddle. It's the moment in the puddle when she's like, too late at the end.
But it's not the shortest. Beatrice Straight in Network was only 5 minutes and 2 seconds screen time for an Oscar. But tell me, why is Shakespeare in Love a memorable and impactful movie for you?
Again, this is so funny. My husband really wanted to see this movie, and I was like, I don't want to see that movie because I love Tom Stoppard, right? Arcadia that play changed my life. When I watched that play, I saw it at ACT in San Francisco. I think I was an undergrad, and I was like, I want to do this. I want to write plays, and I want to be in the theater. And I'd always been in the theater, but I was like, that moment for me was like playwright. And it's the double thing again, right? It's two time frames. And I really didn't want to see it because I don't know why, but he was like, we're going to see this movie. And it's the movie that made me decide to apply for the playwriting program to get my MFA. Again, it's about the theater, and it's about the conversation between choosing love or passion, right? Or work, right? Like, and so many of the movies I love are about this, all about Eve. What are you willing to do in pursuit of your art? What are you willing to give up? And it's not a happy romantic ending at the end of the movie, but it is still very satisfying. And this movie, again, the language and the Tom Stoppard of it, right? And the background of it is so appealing to me. And I love the fantasies of what Shakespeare's life was like because, what do we actually know?
Yeah.
But, when I fell in love with Joseph Fiennes, we went to England later. I met him. He was in a play, a little bit shorter than I am. So, and my husband dominated the conversation, but whatever. No, but Shakespeare in Love for me was such a romantic version of that time. And, I didn't have to smell it. So I felt okay about it, but you can kind of smell it in the movie.
Indeed.
But for me, it was, again, I want to do that. I want to be back in that world because so much of my life has been getting distracted from what I'm supposed to be doing, which is writing.
Right.
And then I get pulled back into these moments of I don't want to swear. You're a writer. Get back to it. And it was that movie that inspired me to apply and go to grad school to get my MFA.
Okay, so prior to seeing this film, you were kind of not
Lost.
writing.
No, I was working because I needed health insurance, but my 20s were like a very confusing, disastrous time. Like I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. After college, I was totally lost, like cut loose. I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I didn't know how. But it was that movie that made me recalibrate who I was and reminded me I love the theater, I love writing. And for years, I thought that acting was the creative center, and it took that movie to remind me that the writer is the creative center.
Was it literally a light bulb moment, or was it like coming out of the cinema? You were like,
It was in the movie.
Oh, really?
I think it was in the movie. And I remember I was like, oh God, my husband is right. He was my boyfriend at the time, but I was like, oh, he's right. I have to admit that he was right, that I would love this movie. One of those like, don't you tell me what to do. But I was like, God damn it, he knows me. And I don't think we've been dating for very long, like maybe 2 years. I guess that's long. Yeah. But it was, again, like something he introduced me to that was a reminder of who I am. Again, that same conversation we had about mentorship. Sometimes you need that person to reflect back at you who you are because of who you told them you are.
There's 5 minutes. Hold that thought. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. I do love these stories where it's like the film that kicked your ass or triggered you to do. You know, it's like it's more than just simply a fulfilling, entertaining experience. It's like to kind of about turn on your life is quite amazing. So then, I'm fascinated to know for your final choice. Clock's ticking. We're going to go to 1987 for the rom-com Overboard, starring one of Hollywood's longest-standing couples, I've learned in the research for this. They're not married, but have been together for 4 decades and more. It's the story, I should say, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, for those that don't know. It's the story of a cruel heiress, played by Hawn, who mocks and cheats a hired carpenter, Russell. But when she develops amnesia after going overboard, he decides to introduce her to his family life by convincing her that they're husband and wife. Fun facts, Overboard is a real family affair. Their kids were on set for the entire making of the film. Their youngest, Wyatt, took his first steps on set and is the baby Joanna is picking up and holding at the miniature golf course scene. Plus, Kurt Russell's dad, Bing, played the sheriff. And in the spirit of a film crew being like a family for the duration of the shoot, they held a barbecue for the whole cast and crew during production. But tell me,
love that.
Why is this film memorable and has impact on you?
I think I didn't know it at the time.
Okay.
But what I always go back to when I'm introducing characters, especially in a feature, how do you introduce a character in a feature? That is character, plot, behavior, all the things. And that scene with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell where she's just swanning around in that bathing suit, which is like the 80s, like it's so delicious. It's so 80s, right? Yeah. And she's this absolute nonsense person, and he is the carpenter trying to make the shoe closet, and the way they are introduced is so who they are. It's an unmistakable, and how they clash. And so that when she is washed up, I mean, he's the main character, right? When she is washed up and he pretends that, and he gets a revenge on her, you're like, yeah, that bitch deserves it, right? But, and so you buy it, right? And just in terms of like, it's a terrible thing. He holds her hostage.
Yeah, it's
right. It's the word, like it, plot-wise, like, hey, we had this idea about this guy who's going to trick this woman into being his wife to take care of his kid. Like, it's horrible if it was a drama, right? It's a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
But again, of its time. But and because they have such chemistry and they're so funny and so good together, you kind of don't think about that. But you buy it. And so in terms of rooting for your main character, in terms of like the character introductions and then watching them both change is so beautiful. And I think, the plot notwithstanding, I think this movie really holds up in terms of structure and storytelling. But it's that opening scene for me where I was like, aha. And, I think I was, what was it, 89, did you say it came out? 87. Yeah, God, I was in high school. I think I was a junior or senior in high school. So I must have seen it then. And I was always a writer, and something about it stuck with me. And also, it's so funny. I mean, all these movies are funny. And the other movie I loved at that time was Heathers, which is a little darker.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like both sort of spectrums, right? Of like, this is a love story. Heather's is not a love story.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I don't know.
I guess as well. I mean, just thinking about what you just said there, I think, I mean, you think about the way we talk about generations now. I would guess that Overboard is a boomer movie, and obviously Heather's
it's a Gen X movie. How dare you?
I'm saying story, not movie. The story is a boomer story about the relationships, whereas Heather's, well, it's not cynical, is it? I mean, Overboard is not cynical. Like you say, if you look at what's actually
I think Overboard is super cynical.
Okay.
It ends happily.
Yeah.
Right? However, he's dirt poor. And the income disparity.
Yeah.
Right? And how the rich people are so awful. Right?
Okay.
And the poor people and the poor family, they actually, they're just looking for a mom, these kids. Right? I think it is like the bigger picture is very cynical. The income disparity, what we were dealing with in the 80s under Reaganomics, like my generation, I think it is, it's like, yeah, the income
I guess
divide,
because Heather's
divide.
I guess because Heather's is overtly nihilistic as opposed to.
Oh yeah, no. Heather's is the color of my soul, right? That movie did not change my life. That movie was just like, yeah, that's your life. I of course showed it to my. Yeah.
Go on, finish that thought. You showed it who?
Oh, my daughter, my 14-year-old, has been begging to watch Heather since she was like 10 years old. And I was like, no, you're not going to get it. It's of a generation. You're not going to get it. I was like, okay, you're 14. Let's do it. We had to stop because she had a big old panic attack in the middle of it. And I'm like, yeah, see, I could handle it. You cannot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, look, that brings us to the end of 3 movies that changed your life. Thank you for sharing those tales, and thank you for giving your insight into what makes good and bad mentoring. It just gives me to say thank you very much for giving your time on the Britflix podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you, and thanks to Meg as well, pass this on, for the Screenwriting Life, because like I say, it has been a bit of a life raft every now and again.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Bandit, me and Fred's got a question. What do you and Fred want? How come we doing this? Well, why not? Well, they said it couldn't be done. Well, that's the reason, son.
3 movies that have changed your life.
How long have you been a robber? 4'1". Good Lord. Jolly good. 4'1". Yes. Well, that is a long time.
3 movies that have changed your life.
John, I want this material burned. All of it.
Hey there, Hugh from Podderation here. If you're liking today's show, why not check out DL Gaming, one of the longest running gaming podcasts out there. Join the Digital Logic crew every week as they talk about the latest games they've played, the latest and greatest gaming news, and perhaps some of what makes the gaming world tick as well. If you want to learn more, check out our website at podderation.com.